Warren Gatland is a name that once commanded immense respect in the rugby world, a coach who turned Wales into a powerhouse, orchestrated multiple Grand Slam victories, and led the British and Irish Lions to historic triumphs. For over a decade, Gatland was synonymous with success, resilience, and tactical brilliance, but now that legacy is crumbling. In 2022, he made a dramatic return to Welsh rugby, stepping to save a team in crisis. Instead, things have gone from bad to worse. A bottom of the table finish in the 2023 Six Nations, humiliating defeats, and most recently, Wales' embarrassing scoreless performance against France in the 2025 Six Nations opener. How did it all go so wrong? How did Warren Gatland go from being one of the greatest rugby coaches of his era to a man struggling to hold on to his reputation? Today, we're diving deep into Gatland's career, his early days, his coaching highs, and the shocking downfall that now threatens to overshadow everything he once achieved. Before he became a world-renowned coach, Warren Gatland was a player, an uncompromising hooker from New Zealand. Born in Hamilton in 1963, Gatland developed a love for rugby from an early age. He played for Waikato in the provincial competition and quickly built a reputation for his physicality, leadership, and work ethic. While he never made the All Blacks in a test match, he did receive call-ups to the national squad as a backup. His playing career lasted over a decade, and he even captained Waikato, leading them to a famous Ranfurly Shield victory over Auckland in 1993. But as a player, Gatland's ceiling was limited. He wasn't a superstar, his true calling lay elsewhere. As his playing days came to an end, it became clear that he had the mind of a coach. He was a leader on the field, always analysing the game, and possessed a deep understanding of tactics. It was only a matter of time before he transitioned into coaching. Gatland's coaching career started in New Zealand, where he took charge of Galwegians RFC, a club side in Ireland, but his big break came in 1998 when he was appointed as the head coach of Connacht. Coaching a struggling provincial side in the Irish system was no easy task, but Gatland made the best of it, earning a reputation for getting the most out of limited resources. That caught the attention of the Irish Rugby Union, when Ireland suffered a humiliating 46-10 defeat to England in the 1999 Five Nations. The IRFU sacked head coach Brian Ashton and turned to Gatland. At just 36, he was given the job of coaching a national side that had been struggling for years. His tenure with Ireland wasn't spectacular, but laid the foundation for his coaching philosophy: hard-nosed defence, fitness, and a no-excuses mentality. However, by 2001, the IRFU decided to move in a different direction and replace him with Eddie O'Sullivan. Gatland was out of a job, but his best days were still ahead. When Warren Gatland took over Wales in late 2007, the team was at rock bottom. They had crashed out of the 2007 Rugby World Cup after a humiliating loss to Fiji, failing to make it past the pool stages. The squad was talented but lacked discipline, direction, and structure. Gatland, known for his hard-nosed coaching style, was exactly what they needed. His first order of business was installing a no-nonsense culture. He brought in Shaun Edwards, one of the sharpest defensive minds in rugby, as his assistant. Together, they forged a team built on discipline, fitness, and an impenetrable defense. The results were immediate. Gatland's first Six Nations campaign was nothing short of extraordinary. Wales opened with a stunning 26-19 victory over England at Twickenham, their first win at the venue in 20 years. This victory set the tone for the tournament. Wales swept through the competition, beating Scotland, Italy, and Ireland before sealing the Grand Slam with a commanding 29-12 win over France in Cardiff. Under Gatland, Wales had gone from World Cup embarrassment to Six Nations champions in just a few months. It was a remarkable turnaround, built on defensive resilience, tactical discipline, and a newfound mental toughness. By 2012, Wales had developed into one of the most physically dominant teams in world rugby. The squad now boasted young stars like Sam Warburton, George North, and Talupe Faletau. Gatland had built a side that could grind out wins and overpower teams with sheer physicality. They started the 2012 Six Nations with a thrilling 23-21 win over Ireland in Dublin, thanks to a last-minute Lee Halfpenny penalty. A tough battle with England followed, but Wales edged them out 19-12 at Twickenham. The defining moment came in the final round against France. Wales secured a 16-9 victory, completing another Grand Slam and confirming their place as a dominant force in the Northern Hemisphere. This triumph was particularly special as it came just months after their heartbreaking World Cup semi-final defeat to France in 2011. While Gatland didn't oversee all of the 2013 Six Nations, he was away coaching the British Irish Lions, his influence remained. Wales started poorly, losing to Ireland and Cardiff, but recovered with wins over France, Italy and Scotland. Then came the final match against England and Cardiff. England was on the verge of a Grand Slam, but Wales delivered one of their greatest performances under Gatland, thrashing their old rivals 30 points to 3 to win the Six Nations on points difference. It was a brutal, relentless display, with Alex Cuthbert scoring 2 tries in Wales utterly humiliating England in front of a roaring Principality Stadium crowd. By 2019, Gatland's time with Wales was coming to an end. He had already announced that the Rugby World Cup would be his final campaign in charge, but before that, he had one more masterpiece to deliver. Wales opened the tournament with a dramatic comeback win over France in Paris, coming from 16-0 down to win 24-19. They edged out Italy and then produced a monumental performance against England and Cardiff, winning 21 points to 13 in a brutally physical contest. A hard-fought victory over Scotland set up a Grand Slam decider against Ireland. In his final Six Nations game in charge, Gatland masterminded a dominant 25 points to 7 win, securing his 3rd Grand Slam with Wales. It was a fitting way to end his reign, another championship, another moment of glory. Gatland left Welsh rugby on top, his reputation cemented as one of the greatest coaches in the sport's history, but as we'll soon see, not all comebacks have happy endings. After stepping away from the Wales job, Gatland returned to New Zealand to coach the Chiefs in Super Rugby. Many expected him to dominate the competition. Instead, his tenure was a disaster. The Chiefs lost every game in the 2020 Super Rugby season, finishing dead last. It was a shocking fall from grace. Gatland, once hailed as a tactical genius, suddenly looked out of touch. His methods, so effective with Wales, weren't working in New Zealand. Then, in 2021, he coached the British Irish Lions for a 3rd time. This tour, however, was a far cry from his previous successes. The Lions lost the series to South Africa in uninspiring fashion, with Gatland criticised for his conservative tactics. The aura of invincibility was beginning to fade, but the biggest blow to his legacy was yet to come. In late 2022, Welsh rugby was once again in turmoil. Wayne Pivac had taken over after Gatland left in 2019, but his tenure had been a disaster. With the 2023 Rugby World Cup looming, the WRU made a desperate move. They brought Warren Gatland back. At first, it seemed like a smart decision. Surely, the man who built Wales into a powerhouse could do it again, but reality hit fast. Wales finished bottom of the table in the 2023 Six Nations, a shocking low point for a team that once dominated the tournament under Gatland. The squad looked slow, uninspired and out of ideas. For the first time in history, they lost every single match in the tournament, finishing with 0 wins and collecting the wooden spoon for the first time since 2003. For a coach once known for instilling resilience, grit and discipline, this was an unthinkable outcome. The man who built Wales into a rugby superpower was now overseeing its collapse. To make matters even worse, the Welsh Rugby Union somehow decided to keep him in charge for this year's Six Nations. A horrible mistake, as at the time of writing, they've just had arguably their most embarrassing Six Nations defeat at the hands of France, losing 43-0. Yes, you heard that right. It's genuinely hard to believe that this is the same coach who won Grand Slam after Grand Slam. His legendary status is now in serious jeopardy, and it seems like there's nothing he can do to fix it. Warren Gatland is undeniably one of the greatest rugby coaches of his generation. His first tenure with Wales was nothing short of legendary, but his return has been nothing but failure and frustration. His once proud team now sits at the bottom of the Six Nations table, humiliated and broken. His tactical genius is being questioned, his leadership doubted. The man who once made Wales Grand Slam champions has now led them to one of their darkest periods in history.
Right, Warren Gatland has left his role as Wales head coach after losing a record 14 consecutive test matches. The decision was made by mutual consent. Matt Sherratt will take up the position on an interim basis.
With that all said and done, it's been your boy John Talks Rugby, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click on screen now to see how this man invented rugby's most iconic skill. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.